Hi, I'm Rich from Tweetler Performance, and this is a video on how to install our flapper. kit. So to start off with, you are going to need a 4mm hex, a T30 Torx bit, an 11mm socket or a wrench, ratchets for whatever you're using. If you have T-handles, regular Allen keys, those will work as well. Various size screwdrivers. You may need an extension, 3/8. A hammer might be also helpful, and some prying tools may be helpful as well. So to begin with, if you've gotten this far, you already know that there is some screws that don't hold the manifold down to the engine block. When you remove those, you'll be able to access the flapper. First things first, you're going to want to remove these 3 fasteners at the front. Now once you take the center fastener off of the arm here, you'll be able to pull up on this. It might take some force. Be careful of that spring, it will pop out at you like that. And then for this piece, the easiest thing I've found to do is flip it over. Take your extension into the wedge hole here. Give it a few gentle taps and it should release. Then you should be able to take some pry tools if needed. Just be gentle with that, and you'll be able to get the retainer off. Now that you have your flapper out, we can get this out of the way. Once you have your flapper, you can take a large flathead screwdriver, and if you see these cross sections right here, you'll be able to insert the flathead, and if you just give it a twist, by now the plastic's so brittle it should just snap away like that. Clean it so you can have, clean and clear access to get past those pieces of plastic. And just repeat that for all 4. Then you can also take the same screwdriver, and if you go in from the back, again, kind of the same twisting motion, you can kind of manhandle this, it won't be getting reused. And once you have your flapper looking like this, you take a small flathead, and from the back, you can get into these holes and you can release the locking tabs. To do this first, push back on these, and it'll let them slide out a lot easier. And once you've removed all the metal tabs, you take your included 6.5mm drill bit, and from either way you can drill these holes out to size. Just make sure there's no burrs left over. If you have that, you can grab your hardware and some of your RTV or thread locker. And you see the arrow on our flapper kit? If you turn it towards the bar, flip it over so the flat side's up, you have it in the correct orientation. You take our included nylon fasteners. Stop. You're just going to put a little drop of RTV on each one before you put the nuts onto them, just for extra security. This is where you can take your 11mm wrench, and you may not need a socket on the other end, but if you're having issues with the bolt spinning, you may need one, like I am now. So once you have your flapper all dried and cleaned up, you are going to be ready for install. So for this, you're just going to want some grease for the ends here and this fitting up here when it slides into the spring retainer. Just for good measure, you can put some in here too. You will grab your spring retainer and then make sure you kind of line up the holes when you put it in. Also, it helps to, like I said, put some grease on it here for reassembly. If you apply some to the outside as well, it helps it kind of seat in a little bit better. On a factory one, you would see an O-ring here, but this is one of our Tweetler 3D printed ones to replace some of the broken ones. I found that if you can't get it all the way in, it helps to line it up before you put your screws in, and then put them in when there's still a gap. And if you do have to do it this way, switch back and forth so you're not putting extra stress on whatever material that your spring retainer is made out of. Once those are in place, you will put your spring back in the retainer, slip it where it needs to be in the guide on your arm, make sure your flapper is at the bottom position like that, rotate, and then line up the tabs in the arm. Give it a firm push down. If it doesn't seat all the way, that's okay. And after that, you have a fully installed flapper. This one's a little bit tight, and sometimes if they're tight, you can do a little bit of extra sanding in this hole in the spring retainer, and this one could be just because this is a brand new 3D printed part and it's not worn in yet. And that is all. Thank you for shopping with Tweetler Performance.